It was 25 years since United's last title when Crystal Palace came to Old Trafford in February 1992. But the side that would come to dominate English football was beginning to take shape.
United have had to make just one major decision in their team selection at right back, and Paul Ince has won Alex Ferguson's vote over Paul Parker. Mal Donaghy, so often a loyal reserve here, is at the moment the undisputed deputy for Steve Bruce. Donaghy, one of 8 of these players who took part in international matches in midweek. This is the same side which won at Tottenham last weekend. Centre-back Eric Young, the one doubt after his appearance for Wales ended in injury. Well, after 11 matches in 44 days, Manchester United have had a 2-week break from club commitments. They'll want to show some benefits from that break because their players, since the turn of the year really, have made steady rather than spectacular progress. Palace's mood much more buoyant in recent weeks, and hoping that their performance will be as eye-catching as their change kit, which is a copy of the world-famous colours, of course, of Brazil. Mark Bright has happy memories of playing on this ground. Back in 1989, he scored both goals in Palace's last win here by 2-1. But Alex Ferguson's team could ill afford a reverse like that today. Palace are up well, and it was knocked back quickly by Osborne, but offside was David White. Thorne trying to hold the line against a wind-assisted kick by Schmeichel. It's gone way over the Palace right-back John Humphrey, pursued by Ryan Giggs, wearing number 4 today. Giggs missed out on representative honours in midweek. He had a slight ankle problem that kept him out of the Wales setup. His time at that level will come aplenty, I'm sure. But up and down the First Division, they will tell you that Crystal Palace are a very difficult team to compete against. They have this aggressive, athletic style. They certainly let you know that they're around. McGoldrick gives them the width on the right-hand side. Osborne wearing the shirt that has been taken from Andy Gray in recent weeks. Schmeichel, who loves to throw the ball but doesn't always have the opportunity to do it. Awkward for Young. Hughes might get to it. Young still hasn't cleared the danger. And in the end, with the help of Lee Sinnott, he did. And then down goes Bright. Push by Pallister. Well, it was headed there by Young onto a raised arm. It could hardly have been construed as deliberate handball. And the referee certainly let the game go on without any shadow of a doubt. Owen racing up, almost getting in McClare's way. Here's Giggs. Hughes making his move, getting a header too. That wasn't that far away from Mark Hughes. There was a very pleasing note to this build-up for Manchester United. Excellent harmony in the movement and in the passing. McClare is onside. Palace not initially too happy about that. Here's Giggs. Hughes. It's a goal. For the second time, Crystal Palace stand hand on hip. But Mark Hughes, who hasn't had too many moments of such joy in front of goal recently. Giggs found him. Palace wanted the flag to go up, it stayed down, and Hughes steered it beyond Martin. It took a while to find the back of the net, but for Manchester United, It did, and that's all that matters. They lead 1-0. The goal coming after 10 minutes. Well, right at the outset of that attack, Palace wondered whether McClair should have been allowed to really be in at the outset of the build-up, or whether he should have been ruled offside. But the game went on, and Giggs picked out Hughes with the cross as Palace looked at the linesman again. Thorne getting underneath the ball, right underneath it as it turned out, and it's a corner. Well, as I said at the outset, Crystal Palace have had some impressive away performances this season, but when they have faltered, they really have been rather spectacular falls. 5-1 at Nottingham Forest, 4-1 at Sheffield Wednesday, a bad start here at Old Trafford. Under the collar again. Bright. Kanchelskis, it's Robson who has the shot. While his younger colleagues have been away on international representation, Brian Robson turned out for Manchester United's reserve team, just to try and stay sharp. It's certainly an afternoon on which there will be a premium at keeping the ball on the ground. Michael's kick again, giving Palace a problem. But it was a back pass by Osborne that would have produced a bizarre own goal, but for a really fabulous save in the end by Martin. He hasn't matched it with his clearance, although Webb then lost out to Young. But Osborne backed his technique then, taking the ball on the half volley, but didn't take into account the wind, and the ball very nearly sailed over Martin's head. Well, that was heart-stopping for him, but it was ball-stopping from the goalkeeper, thankfully for Crystal Palace. Thomas. Very tidily done by Gary Pallister. Palace playing with 2 up, 4 across midfield, but being tested every time Peter Schmeichel delivers the ball from his hands over that midfield quartet. Kanchelskis, I think he might have been nudged then. Played well by all accounts in Valencia last Wednesday for the CIS, the former Soviet Union, in a 1-1 draw with Spain. And there's going to be a booking here for Bright for clashing with Donaghy then. Mark Bright, who has this all-action style and occasionally will go in for a ball that he really has no entitlement, and he was knocking away with his left hand then. That's what Ken Redfern saw. Manchester United, who really had an opportunity to get the game firmly in their grip in the opening 15 minutes, haven't quite taken it. Alex Ferguson still with plenty of thinking to do, and composing his thoughts for half-time now. The worst moment for Nigel Martin since the goal, coming from his teammate with Osborne's back pass that was very nearly an outrageous own goal. This is White, 2 to his left. He wanted to go on, which reflects great credit Although Simon Roger is now explaining that a better percentage would have been to have laid the ball off. But when strikers get to the edge of the penalty area, most managers say, well, if you've got a trick or two, that's the place to use them. It will be Roger to take the corner. Oh, and it was grasped from Eric Young's header by Schmeichel right on the line. That's part of Crystal Palace's repertoire. They're very strong at set pieces, strong in the way that they've rehearsed them, but also strong in the physical sense where they really do throw bodies in bravely. Good work on the ball by Thomas. Needs some movement now to help him. Comes from Sinnott from behind. Chelskis helping defend, put out by Ince, throw to Palace. Osborne, Sinnott, that's mishit. And gave Humphrey a real problem. And when the ball drops for Hughes, that's when alarm bells start ringing for Crystal Palace. All coming from one mishit ball from one of their own. In the end, that was tenacious play by Osborne. And room now on the Palace left from this product of the Bobby Charlton soccer schools before Crystal Palace really took over his education, Simon Roger. There'd be some irony if Roger made a major contribution here. This was Eric Young trying to make his contribution. Osborne, handball not given. Manchester United now with Giggs. Kanchelskis set off. It was clearly meant to be a shot from Giggs, and it was extravagantly mishit. Kanchelskis tried to turn it into a pass with his acceleration. And, he really is, in an athletic game these days, one of the most athletic. Holding off Bright. Goldrick got the ball back for Palace. Humphrey in danger of losing it again to Giggs. He has lost it. Robson outside him. If Giggs looks up, well, his eyes really were always on the goal and the glory that goes with it. But he battled for the right to have the shot. He won the ball in the first place, and that's what defenders hate. Players prepared to try and commit them then, and it was a much better effort than the one a minute or two earlier. Webb's header, swept on by McClare, who just fits in at the moment. He's back in midfield. He really is the ultimate team man, Brian McClare, and as well as playing for others, he's contributed 20 goals of his own this season. Here's White. Palace not too long. They're going to get a goal back before half-time. Ince shepherds the ball, he hopes, out of play, and it has gone. As we move into stoppage time. Manchester United, champions 7 times, but not since 1967. Alex Ferguson has been making optimistic comments this week. Make sure his players don't feel the pressure, I'm sure. Kanchelskis. And they certainly began this game as though there was no weight on their shoulders at all. But they haven't finished the half in quite such convincing form. Webb. A free kick. Maybe just time for it to be taken. Prime concern to Crystal Palace not to lose a second goal here. Thorne Out, back from Ince. Great try. Drilled it low. A very awkward ball to control as it dropped. And Ince, well, but for Martin, would have found the bottom corner. Hughes got it down under a severe challenge from Thorne. McClare reacting around him. Kanchelskis in the centre. Giggs coming in too. Humphrey in trouble. Robson has the shot in the end. Webb lining it up for Owen. Well, it was coming at Crystal Palace from all angles then, and they very nearly buckled. McClare's bright mind was responsible for him getting into that position. Humphrey had all sorts of difficulties here. Robson really couldn't swing his leg decisively. Owen was in a position to do that, but rattled it well wide. Could you contact the police officer immediately, please? McClare trying to nip past Young. Here's Webb. Now Pallister. Webb, it was an imaginative ball, very similar to the one he played in the FA Cup final replay that put in Lee Martin to win the Cup for Manchester United, getting on for 2 years ago now, from right to left. Here's Giggs. Takes two to hold him up. Webb. Humphrey just got to it. Hooked back in by Robson. McClare, Kanchelskis and Martin, and also offside. Well, the flag went up straight away. Nigel Martin, understandably and correctly, concentrating on getting to the ball, which he did. Palace made a nervy start to the second half, and although the elements are in their favour, they can look back on part of the first half with a certain amount of satisfaction once they got going. But they really haven't been seen at their best in the second half, with the wind gusting, occasionally dropping, as you can see, and then playing tricks on the path of the ball. It's not an easy afternoon in which to show off the skills. But here's McClare. Robson almost getting in his way. And Kanchelskis and Robson and Hughes! Well, how his fortune has turned in front of goal. Any one of 3 or 4 Manchester United players could have been a scorer here. But Mark Hughes was in the right place for the tap-in. Kanchelskis hit it across. Robson couldn't reach it. Hughes did. And what a week it is turning out to be for the new captain of Wales, Mark Hughes. He led his country to success in Dublin in a friendly international on Wednesday against the Republic of Ireland, where they're so rarely beaten. And he's come back home here to his club to score twice at the early stages of each half. We're 6 minutes into the second half here, and Manchester United are on their way, they hope, to 3 points. They lead Crystal Palace by 2-0. Well, Palace have got to pull a rabbit out of the hat now, and this might be an opportunity for them. The wind, which could be a factor in this free kick, blowing the ball offline for a second. Roger leaves it. Thomas takes it, drives it, doesn't really alter the path of it to make it curve towards the far post. Well, you've just seen the second from Mark Hughes. This was the first, after Brian McClare got the benefit of the linesman ruling that he was onside. Ryan Giggs looked up, Palace hesitated fatally. Hughes lunged and the ball looped over Nigel Martyn. Taken from behind by Donaghy is Bright. He rolled the defender there. Donaghy apologises. Ken Redfern needs an apology as well, and he's got it. Donaghy, the most undemonstrative man, accepted that he'd miscalculated. Bright, to his credit, got on with the game as well. Oh, Pallister, with Schmeichel not quite where he expected him to be. Owen in difficulties, and still Palace might feel that they can unnerve this Manchester United defence enough to get back into the game. Pallister facing his own goal, but facing a goalkeeper who the defender felt was a bit late on parade. McGoldrick's throw. Met by Robson, and Owen can't prevent the corner. This is where Palace might prove to be dangerous. We're 12 minutes into the second half. The second half that's gone swimmingly for Manchester United so far. They now lead by 2-0. But in their position, they cannot afford any slips. And Robson makes sure that there were none on that occasion. They left the free-running Kanchelskis up on the halfway line. Crystal Palace have been beaten only once in their last 8 in the league. And it is in their nature to keep their heads up and keep making the opposition work for a victory, if a victory it's going to be. With Leeds playing tomorrow at Everton, that's an awkward fixture for them. Manchester United would love to post a thumping victory today to score more than the 3 points, to get some psychological value as well. And they might get more chances as Palace have to come out through Osborne here. That's an inviting ball from McGoldrick. It was a great pass. McGoldrick weaving a spell of his own. Oh, Roger, brilliant save. The referee looked at the linesman. That has to be one of the saves of the season from Peter Schmeichel, who could scarcely have seen the ball, but somehow stuck up an arm to prevent it crossing the line. Well, that really robbed Crystal Palace. Cruelly they will feel, but when they look at it again in the cold light of day, then they will have to admire it. Great ball by Osborne, terrific play on the ball by McGoldrick. This is what happened after that, off Schmeichel. Roger actually connected well the second time, and Schmeichel was down, but not out. Here's White. A goal for Palace here, and you'd almost feel the United nerves. Schmeichel is secure. He's very precise in his distribution as well. As Giggs sets off, McClare's made a move on the outside. And was there, just wrong-footed by the back heel. Webb, plenty of time to set himself for a shot. And Palace really feeling that they would back Nigel Martyn to stop anything from that distance. Probably Martyn would back himself. But Webb was happy to put down his stake here. And there were winnings almost materialising there, just too high. Robson able to turn and still get to the ball. Earlier in the game you feel that Palace would have bitten in there, but here's Robson still roaring on. And that That's a good cross on his weaker foot, and Sharp nearly turned it into goal. He didn't hesitate. Wonderful work by Robson. And John Humphrey thought it was going to run beyond and was puffing out his cheeks then in relief as Lee Sharp got to it, but Nigel Martin was covering the post. Ince. Well, they're relaxed, Manchester United now. Haven't been that too often in matches in 1992. They've had some struggles here. They've drawn games that they feel they should have won. They're out of the FA Cup. All that will be forgotten if, at the end of the season, they have their hands on the League Championship. And that little sign is the manager's way of telling him, I think that game is virtually all over. Pallister, Robson there before Osborne, and Sinnott in front of Giggs. McClare. Giggs. Manchester United looking to finish here with a flourish. Ryan Giggs takes them all on. It'll come for Sharp. Giggs, Hughes. Oh, Robson almost undersold. Thomas got it out, but not very far. Humphrey, Hughes still competing for it. Young got it away. Manchester United started both halves here at Old Trafford in fine fettle. On both occasions they were rewarded by a goal. And try as Crystal Palace have since those blows, on both occasions they've not been able to repair the damage. Their effort has been impressive, but United's greater cutting edge, indeed greater resources, carrying the day. Sharp to take the free kick. And Hughes, and he must have, for a fraction of a second, seen number 3 looming there. He started so much for Manchester United here, and he very nearly had the final word. 90 minutes up. Parker. Results are what count for Manchester United now, but performances are a bonus as well. They've certainly had some very pleasant spells in this match, and they've done the double over Crystal Palace thanks to Mark Hughes. Much of the applause for him. A goal at the formative stage of both halves. And Manchester United move, they hope, 3 points closer to their target of the title. No happy return here for Steve Coppell to a ground he graced for so long as a player. But despite today's setback, he does believe Palace are on the right track again.